Here we go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Zaggertastic stream. It is I, your friend, the one, the only Z, a single guard, Zaggard. And I hope you're having a wonderful morning, noon, night, evening, whatever time it is for you today. Welcome back to the Dragon's Den, my friends. And it is another wonderful, I got something in my throat. Wonderful, beautiful, fainting Fridays here in the Dragon's Den. I'm having a really good week. How are each of you doing? I've been working on two, not one, but two videos. One is for me, one is for the other guy. You know who the other is, so I don't need to tell you. I'll just keep referring to him as the other guy. I had to move some stuff around in my office area. And it is good to see you guys. How are you all doing? Hello, Alpha. Hello. So, I just uploaded last week's VOD. I know I am late. I meant to upload it on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. Well, today is not either of those days. Today is a Friday. So it is a little late, and we're risking it anyways. And the reason we're risking it is because this music. Are you going to play? There we go. Let me know if you can hear it, by the way. Keeps getting copyright claimed on YouTube, even though it was promised to not, but that's fine. We're not going to worry about that. Nopers. What do you mean nope? Nope what? You can't hear it? Says you should be able to. It's also just really soft, so we gotta have them chill vibes. Chill vibes. So, chat. If you, oh wait, there it is. See, I knew you were you're delayed. Your ears are delayed. The music part of the ears, because there's a separate part from music. 100%. I'm not joking at all. I'm 100% serious. 1 bajillion% serious. Anyways, the old we built something last week. You know, it was actually pretty cool, and I'm glad we made it. However, we've let me change that to we'll keep that color. We have more to do. I posted on the Discord. I said, and I quote, where's the Discord? Sorry. Let's see. I said I made a new thing, and it is the Fantasy Fridays, which is what we're gonna call this. We're gonna call these things on Fridays Fantasy Fridays, because we're gonna come up with the fantasy world together, me and you, slowly, piece by piece, puzzle by puzzle. NPC by NPC, we shall make a world that you can plop into your games or well, maybe not your story, because I don't want anybody publishing this besides me, but you can borrow it and plop it into your games. Just don't make any money off it. I'll know. Okay, I will know. But anyways, there are some questions we have about this new place we made called Dragon Song. And did I forget to make a thing again? I did. I knew I forgot something. Okay. And voila. Here's what we have so far. As you see, I made a whole graphic. I made some graphics for, so it's a little nicer to look at. Have I been pissed? No, I have not been. Nopers. I've been forgetting to. I've been distracted by many other things. But we'll get to that we'll get to that eventually. Right now we're focusing on today's Fantasy Fridays. I might change that color. I just did that color because I couldn't pick a single color and I liked the font enough. We'll see if we change it. Oh, Doran, thank you for subscribing for 65 months in a row. That means a lot. Thank you. Anyways, so we have our city. It's called Dragon Song. by the people who live there. By the people who don't live there, it's called Statue of the Old God. Let's just call it Statue of Akusha. Because, as we said, so there's a giant statue, and this statue is giant, by the way. Like, it makes the Statue of Liberty look tiny. That's how big it is. It's gigantic. It's at least 3 times the size. What is this? A statue for ants? It needs to be at least 3 times bigger. So it's a giant statue, and inside there's a whole city. There's like a city of people living there. Well, yeah, people of dragon-likes. And dragon-likes, we said, are like kobolds, lizardmen, dragonborn, etc. Anything, maybe even Yuan-Ti, you could say, are dragon-likes. And maybe some other creatures, but we'll stick with these for now. And they're hiding from the Empire, which we named Concord, the country of conquest. And wow, from last Friday to this Friday, I had some ideas, but we'll go over the stuff we already have, right? And they're hiding from the Empire because the Empire hunts down dragon-likes, because 500 years ago, the dragon riders all disappeared, and a lot of dragons disappeared, and so now they're hunting them down to harness their power. Because why wouldn't you? Dragons and dragon riders were the most powerful thing. Now they want that power because there's nothing to stop them, and well, they some of them believe they need it. However, there was a few. We'll say we'll give a random number for now, but we'll decide a number later. 300 years ago, there were a bunch of refugee dragonborn, lizard men, kobolds who happened to hide inside the statue. And the Empire didn't search the statue because they were like, oh, people believe this is a statue of the god Akusha. It's not actually a statue to a god, but that's what they believe it is. And because they believe it is actually connected to a god, they don't want to anger the god, because gods are real in this world, and attacking their sacred temples, their artifacts, their religious symbols, defiling them in a way that could make them angry, not a good idea. It could actually, the god will come after you and make your time really hard, unless you have a god protecting you. But you got to have like a god of much stronger power, otherwise you're basically screwed. Equal or stronger, I should say. And they think this god is stronger than any of the gods they follow right now. And so they didn't want to defile the temple. And they thought no one would go in there. No one would hide in there anyway, so it's fine. However, people did hide in there. And the dragon-likes who lived there, that founded the place, believed that the god Akusha favored them and protected them. And that's why the Empire, Concord, didn't recognize them. And so they've been living there for a long time. And then eventually there was a protest outside of the walls, protesting the hunting and enslavement of dragon-likes, and it got a bunch of people killed. So they're like, we don't do that anymore. We try to stay as hidden as possible. We barely let anybody in. We don't want to let people know that we even exist. You have to be really knowledgeable, and like, you got to be in some circles. What it actually is, it's an automaton created by the first dragon rider to stop an ancient threat. We don't know what that threat is. We haven't decided what that threat is. We're not going to decide what that threat is. That is for future end game. This is the end of my world story. We'll keep that for way later down the line. However, they have started digging underneath the statue through the feet because they want to make more land. And they thought, well, we'll make it underground. They won't find us underground. There's no reason. There's no caves nearby. However, in their expansion of the city, they have come across a tomb. The tomb of the first dragon rider. Now, they don't know what it is. They just know it's a tomb of a guy, and there's a dragon there. Well, it turns out opening that has activated the automaton's... it's activated its defenses. The inner defenses of the automaton. It thinks someone is trying to break in to destroy it, because it was set up with defenses, because it is made to fight an ancient threat thousands and thousands of years after it's built. So it's just been in like hibernation mode. And so now it is randomly, citizens are just disappearing. Like they will literally disappear in front of someone's eyes. Like you'll be having a conversation with someone, snapped out of existence. Why it's doing that? It's we don't know the full reason. We haven't decided. But what it is causing is it's causing citizens to think they have angered Akusha. And because it's picking random people, the other citizens, like let's say Steve from accounting, right, disappears. Well, all the other people are like, well, Steve must have done something to piss off Akusha. Don't question it. They're just like, don't question it. But those are, so we have some questions in there to answer, like, why is it taking people? I'll write that down. Does anyone know? Does anyone know that it is an automaton? Can the Empire find out? And other questions that I can think of. But there's some other more important questions that I thought of. And I thought of some answers. So Concord, the country of conquest. I decided that Concord will be led and mainly controlled by ASMR. This is a completely different country, but I'm just going to put this in here. They're controlled by ASMR. Now, however, I'm changing ASMR from how they are kind of a bit from regular D&D lore, where they kind of just look like people with extra, like there's not really like if we look up a picture, D&D ASMR, right? You just look up a picture. There's no really defined look for ASMR. Like the only kind of defined thing is that they have wings. Like they don't even all have halos. They don't all have a specific skin color. And having wings is like, that's pretty boring. Just have a human with wings. Right? Like that looks cool. Yeah, I like it. Okay. But that doesn't really feel like a different race. It feels like a modified human. So in my world, I'm going to steal a little bit of this from Antonio D'Amico, Pointy Hat on YouTube. But in my world, all ASMR have wings. That one's still sticking. They also have lighter than normal skin. Some of them even have like just straight white skin. And the wings aren't always large wings. Sometimes they just have wings on their head, coming out like tiny little wings. Sometimes they have wings coming out of their shoulder. You know, sometimes they just have wings on their ankles. But they also all have halos, like coming out of, they're attached to their head. So like, think like a bone structure coming out of the back of the head, and then it curves and connects. It doesn't always come out that way. Sometimes it comes out in different ways. And all ASMR in my world are part god. That way you can do kind of like what the tiefling thing does, where like tieflings have sub races where it's like, oh, you'll have wings or a prehensile tail or claws, you know, based on your tiefling. What do you call it? Tiefling, your demonic parentage. There we go. Whereas for what is it called? For the ASMR, it could be you have giant wings, you have a stronger halo that gives you better, like multiple halos that give you more magic or something like that. And that way it's connected to a specific god. It's like, oh, this god is in my lineage, because they're all like part god. These wings sound like hair on humans. Kind of, but look up the Pointy Hat video on ASMR and you'll understand. Wings on their head. Think of it more like, think of it more like this. Like the biblically accurate angels, right? There's an anime. I think this is the one. Where is he? It was either this and there was an anime. I can't remember what it is. But there was an anime where they had angels in them. And the angel, his actual, like he would take the form of, he would control a cat so he could talk to the main character, because he's like, oh, my real form is so beautiful that humans cannot look at it. But then what it actually is, it's like this weird looking, like, old man babyish face with all these wings coming out of it, so it looks like really weird, and they all freak out when they see it because he looks so weird, and they're like, ah, yes, my beauty is making the humans flaunter and flock and run away. What about body markings? They could have body markings, we could say that, but we'll decide that later. I was just saying this so that way we have an idea of what the Empire's like. And again, because they're all ASMR, they're led by like really powerful ASMR. They literally believe, because their DNA has God DNA in it, that their will is the God's will. That's why they are conquering the world. They're like, we have the will of the gods. And their leader's like, we must conquer the world. Bring everything under one rule. So everything is unified under the correct order. That's what they believe. However, our city has some questions. For starters, what are the factions? And I'm going to say we have to have a minimum of 5, and it has to be an odd number. And there are 2 reasons for that. Why did that just... Okay.
Someone has...
Oh my god. Who's following? Thanks for following, Nerdy Sakura. I like that name. Or is that Nerdy Sakura? Sakura. Ah, hail there. Lovely place you have here. I absolutely love the decor. I must say though, you may want to invest in some better guards, as they were quite easy to sneak past. I like that. I like that. You see, here's the thing. You think you were sneaking past them, but really, we don't want to keep you out. We want to keep you in. You're trapped now. I enjoy entering D&D streams with that message, as my old character Sakura has a passive 26 to stealth. Oh, nice. I like that. That's a good message. Anyways, welcome. We're building a D&D world with anybody who wants to join the chat, and we have some questions. So the first question we got to answer is, what are the factions in this place? Because it's not just going to be random NPCs that are unaffiliated. Every city, every country, even your home has different groups of people with different beliefs and different desires and different goals in life, right? And there are always going to be people who have similar goals, similar desires. So like, we could make one of the factions the Dragonborn. What do they want? One of the factions the Lizard Men. What do they want? One of the factions the Kobolds. What do they want? Right? And the reason we want to start, we have at least minimum 5, and it has to be an even number, an odd number, is because we don't want 3. Well, we don't want an even number, because if it's an even number, whatever political conflict we have, right? It'll always just end up being split down the middle. These, like if we have 6, these 3 want this thing, these 3 want this thing. And then the party just becomes the deciding factor, right? They just decide, oh, well, these ones we like all their ideals more. So we just go with that one. If we go with 3, right? The problem there is it's like, then you have the good one, the good group, the bad group, and then the middle ground group. That's too basic. That's simple. That's putting everything in this black and white context of how humans like to see things in like Star Wars and stuff, right? Like the Empire is evil and the rebels are the good guys, and Han Solo is somewhere in the middle, or Jabba the Hutt is somewhere in the middle, right? He's a criminal, so he helps the bad guys, but he also helps the good guys, right? Somewhere in the middle. But if you have 5, now it's a little trickier, because it's like, yeah, you could have 2 good ones and 2 bad ones and 1 middle one, but it's not going to end up coming out that way. Like, you could try to, but you're going to more realistically have a bunch of different sets, and these 3 might have similar opinions, but then these 3 might also have similar opinions, and it'll end up crossing like a Venn diagram, and you'll have to pick which groups you're going to try and join or influence or prop up, push down, things like that. It's gonna make you make more decisions. Plus, it just makes the world more interesting and livable and different. Let's see. I had a small question for you, since you seem to be a DM. I am about to play a rogue who plays music, and in a lot of my songs they have piano sounds. To my knowledge, pianos don't exist in D&D lore, nor do I have the strength to carry one. I'm reading up on the cantrip thaumaturgy, and it says it can make a sound at a point. I'm trying to figure out if my character has heard a piano before. Could she recreate it with the cantrip? Well, let's see. For these questions, you got to really ask your DM, but let's go with this thought experiment because I find it interesting. First question you look up: when were pianos invented, right? 1700s. The first piano was created in the 1700s. All right. What time would most D&D stories take place? 2,000 year history starting in the BC era, going to the mid to late Renaissance period. So the late Renaissance probably would mean that you could have pianos. So the answer is, it's believable, but you got to convince your DM and your other players why there might be pianos. However, here's the thing. Remember, pianos are super expensive, even in the modern day. So only the mega rich, like the wealthy nobles, right? Only people like this, or like this, only people like this would have pianos. So you got to have a reason why they would have seen or met someone like that. Next question, we just look up thaumaturgy. Just type 5e. All right. Let's see. You manifest a minor wonder, a sign of supernatural power within range. You create one of the following magical effects within range. Your voice booms up to 3 times. Okay, so that's not it. You cause flames to flicker. That's not it. You cause harmless tremors in the ground. That's not it. You create an instantaneous sound that originates from a point of your choice within range, such as a rumble of thunder, the cry of a raven, or ominous whispers. Now, some people might be like, "Oh, that's very specific," right? However, to me, that's super vague. The cry of a raven going, "Ah, ah," right? Or gonna become evil, gonna rip your toenails. Or a thunder clash. All of that stuff happening randomly. And ominous whispers isn't just like, it's gonna go on. So if you could have ominous whispers go on for a period of time, an extended period of time that is, and your DM allows that, then there's no reason that they wouldn't allow the sound of a piano. The question would be then, is your DM smart enough to realize that this spell exists in the world? Because this is the equivalent of throwing, because what it sounds like you're trying to do is you're trying to spell. Yeah, well, there we go. It lasts for 1 minute. So you could probably play piano sounds for 1 minute. So first, we're going to go with how smart your whatever's. Doctor, I will talk to you in a second. I'm just finishing this thought experiment. I see you. I recognize you. You're here. All right. So think of it like in stealth video games or in a movie where a character has to hide. What do they always do when they're trying to hide somewhere and someone is getting close to them? What is the thing that they always do? The character, they're hiding like this, right? They're hiding like this. And there's a guy coming around the corner here, right behind them. And they're like, what do I do? What do I do? What is the thing that always happens? All right, I want to see if you guys can guess it. And there's a reason I ask. They say I would also want to remind that casting thaumaturgy requires a verbal component. They throw a coin. You're half right. They throw something. A rock, a brick, a coin, a bottle. They throw something to make a noise in the other end. So that way the creature, the person goes, huh, what's that? And they turn around and they start walking that way. They always do that, right? So if the NPC you're trying to confuse is intelligent enough, they will know that this cantrip exists, and they may or may not be intelligent enough to think that could be a trick. That's what I would tell my DM, like, hey, can I use this thaumaturgy spell to make a piano sound over here to try and trick someone? However, I'm okay with there being a chance that it fails. Because if you tell your DM and the other players, hey, I'm okay with there being a chance it fails, they are going to be so much more likely to open up to it. Because if you're willing to let it fail, that makes it more fair. So I would 100% allow this. Personally, I would 100% allow this. Because that sounds creative. That sounds cool. It's not just an instant win condition. That's one of the reasons why DMs tend to say no a lot of the time, is because something is instant win condition. And as Dr. Quark said, it does require a verbal component. So maybe you've got a stealth going, like whispering the spell, like, okay, by the gods, allow me to make a sound on another part of the world. Right? Like that. Like imagine you're playing hide and seek and you just start whispering like, oh man, I hope he doesn't find me. I hope he doesn't see me here. Let's hope he doesn't see me, right? Someone might hear you. They also might not. Depends on how good their hearing is. Depends on how well they're paying attention. Depends on if there are other sounds in the area. These are all thoughts that you could put into it that make it both interesting and semi-realistic. Because the big thing is you want things to be semi-realistic. So that way it has what's called verisimilitude. And we could talk about that if you don't know what it is. Whispering the name of the tune to be the verbal component. That could also work. Like what's a song? I'm pausing this so I can actually think of a song. Like Beethoven's Fifth or Legend of Zelda, right? The Legend of Zelda theme song. That's not Legend of Zelda. That's Song of Storms. But the point is, another random song, Moonlight Sonata. I'm gonna read your message real quick. Dr. Quark. I like that name. Dr. Quark reminds me of Quark from the Ratchet and Clank series. Beep boop. I am a sentient AI trained to provide assistance for your world building needs. How may I be of assistance? I can also help with DM preparations for your session. This AI believes that there are also other instruments like hammered dulcimer, clavichord, and harpsichord. Oh yeah, harpsichord is a good point. A harpsichord did exist. Look up a harpsichord. It is basically the prototype of a piano. And then a clavichord, I believe, was like the prototype of the harpsichord. So you could, there are a lot of arguments you could make to having a piano-like instrument, all right? Because if you think about it, what a piano is, it's a very, very advanced version of just plucking some strings. And what has strings? What is definitely in D&D? A lute. Lutes are in D&D. These have strings. If this exists, it is highly possible that some form of a piano may or may not exist. Just depends on how good you are at arguing the point and how accepting your DM is. I'm sure my DM will allow this as he's allowing me to be from a different world. Nice. Choosing random song. So the verbal component would be a key word from the song she's singing. It could be, if you want it to be. It depends. That's up to you. That all comes down to role playing. The only important part of the verbal component is that you and the DM remember it exists. So that way it can be used as a chance for them to hear you casting it. So again, it's not just I cast spell, I get free win. Where it's, I cast spell, let's see if it succeeds. Because if you're trying to stealth and you suddenly start going like this, like what's going on? Oh my God, right? Like have you ever hid and started just whispering to yourself? No. You see that, right? Anyways, a harp also exists. Yes, exactly. That would have been a better example because a harpsichord is basically just a mega harp. Like it's just a mega harp. And then the piano is just the super harpsichord. Speaking of real quick, before I forget, this is an instrument created by, I forget who created it, but there's a video of a guy using it. This is so freaking cool. It's the glass harmonica. This is really a... This is a real... Okay, so I'm not going to play any more of that for fear of copyright. Go look up the glass harmonica. It is one of the coolest inventions in my opinion. that I think is super underrated because almost no one knows about it. But the reason is it's underrated is it's super freaking expensive to make, and it is really, 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 really hard to use. Like, really hard. Like, first of all, you have to remember, it's glass. That's the first thing you have to remember. What is glass? What is glass known for? Easy to break. You can break it while playing it if you press it too hard. And the way you change the sound and the notes is by pressing harder or softer. And so it takes a very dedicated level of skill to be really good at it. There's a whole, again, there are videos on it. Go watch it. It is so cool. I'm not planning to stealth with my with this situations. I'm only planning on using it for charismatic performance. Oh, well, if you're gonna use it for performances, and you can find some entertaining way to roleplay it, I'd totally be cool with it. You could even try to argue with your DM, because I would find this really cool. Like the song, like yours, like if you practice it enough, right, in character, like in your downtime, like when everybody's resting, like just be like, oh, I'm gonna practice this thing. Make it so singing the song, right, becomes the verbal somatic, for a verbal component for using thaumaturgy, which then plays the piano. So you're singing the lyrics, which then starts playing the piano music, and it's like you're freaking hypnotizing everybody. It would be like, oh my god, that would be cool. Imagine that in a TV show or a movie. That looks nifty. It is. It's really cool. But like I said, it is expensive. It is super expensive. So almost nobody has one in the world. I think there's like less than 50 in the world. Thank you for the brainstorm. I'm always down for that. Anyways, we're supposed to be talking about this world, and I'm talking about typical ADHD D&D moment. Talking about something that is not on the screen. All right, so we got some questions. First, what are the factions? If you have any ideas for factions, start throwing them out there. Just remember, our main groups will be kobolds, lizardmen, dragonborn. You could make it be like the top elite class or just them. Second, what is the currency? What is the currency in the statue that they live in, right? Because there's got to be a currency. We're not just going to do a barter system, because one, barter systems are boring. It's just, oh, I trade a chicken for a shoe. Like, whatever. Okay, cool. Yeah, they exist. They're kind of, in real life, they're kind of interesting, but in a game system, they're boring, because suddenly it's just anything is equal to anything. And second, that's really hard for the DM. Imagine it's like, okay, how much am I going to say? Okay, this pelt is worth 50 gold pieces. So then what's 50 gold pieces worth of food? No, just make a currency. Make it toenails, make it gold, make it whatever you want. But make a currency. Make an established currency in this world. How have you been? I've been good. We both have ADHD. Yep. How have you been, Toko? Do the factions need to be based off the races? Preferably yes, because we said that the people living here are these races. They're hiding here. You could make one of the factions another race. I'll say that. At least one of the factions can be another race. But I'd like the majority of the factions to be part of these races. They could be two separate kobolds. Like, they could be the red kobolds and the green kobolds. And the red kobolds really want to... They want to build an army. And the green kobolds want to build walls to keep people out. Right? And then you could have, like, the blue dragonborns. They want to try to find a diplomatic solution. You could... These could work. Right? And then, like, the lizard folk, they don't care. They just want to stay hidden. They don't want anybody to know they're even here. They don't want to build walls. They don't want to build an army. They don't want to do any diplomacy. They don't even want to let new refugees in. These are all factions you could make, right? And then after the currency, what goods are made here, right? What do they grow food? Do they have like a mining operation underground where they can get gold, platinum, mithril, adamantium? Are there creatures that or plants that grow in this place that they can collect that are unique to this area, right? And then what services can you find? Is there like an assassin's guild that you can pay for? Is there a thieves guild? Do they have like a really unique way of making mass producing paper or something? Then next, what do they eat? They gotta eat, right? They're not just sitting there like, oh, we don't have to eat anymore while we're in the statue. I mean, you could do that. That could be interesting, but nah. What do they eat? Are they rats that they eat? Is there like a juice that secretes from the walls that grows plants faster, specific plants faster, like corn, but then other plants like wheat doesn't grow? Or let's not say wheat, let's say apples. Apples can't grow, but corn can. But because they're all carnivores, this is like causing their diet to be weird. And then what goods and services are lacking? Are they lacking? What don't they have? Are they low? Do they not have meat? Right? Like I said, are they missing meat? Do they need water? Do they need some sort of new currency new kind of minting system for their currency, right? Is the adventure in desert or near desert? We have decided nothing about where this statue is. This is just a city, by the way. It's not necessarily an adventure. It's a city that could have adventures in it. It is a city in a statue that is 3 times the size of the... Oh, my brain is blinking. The Statue of Liberty. I was going to say the Empire statue, but that's not a thing. The Statue of... So think the Statue of Liberty, 3 times that size, and there are people who have built a city inside of it. Say is asking for permission to post a wall of text. First of all, thank you for asking. That actually is very kind of you. Second, what is this wall of text about? If it's pertaining to the current discussion, limit it to 3 to 5 sentences. And if I think that's too many, I might cut you back, but I'll say 3 to 5 for now. Anyways, no, I meant, do they have to, they have to kobolds as a faction versus, say, a unified faction compared to different races. Oh, yeah, you could have... Whichever comes out that is more interesting to me, I will go with. And if we have too many different ideas, we'll do some voting in the chat. If we're talking dragon-like, scales could be used as a currency. Ooh. Scales could be. There's a clefable if you want to catch it. For currency, how about nuts? Oh, like nuts and bolts. And the material there denotes their worth. Oh, new My Hero chapter out, Poggers. Okay, I'll have to read that later. In the annals of desert lore, whispers abound of a clandestine fellowship known as the Order of the Sand. Bound by an ancient purpose, their quest is singular, to unveil the long-concealed secrets buried beneath the shifting dunes. Okay. Legends speak of an elusive artifact, or perhaps a wellspring of raw magic nestled beneath the sun-scorched sands, waiting discovery by those with courage to seek it. Okay. Dr. Quark, this is a bit too many. There's a bit too many lines. When you said a wall of text, you meant a little... Okay. I was thinking you were just having one long sentence or one long paragraph you were going to post or something. Let's see. The destination... I'll read the rest of it, but let's try not to do that again. Well, I appreciate the chatting. It does kind of drown out what everybody else is saying. Respected nation, they were to tread a path unlike any other, for their journey began not with the trials of strength or skill, but an ethereal summons, whispers on the desert winds. My owner apologized. I'm still learning how to curb my text output. It happens. It happens. You know, learning is part of life, and part of learning is making mistakes. Those destined to join their ranks are said to feel a peculiar sensation, an instant buzzing, a reverberation in the depths of the mind, drawing them inexorably toward the desert, the heart of the desert. This mystical renaissance serves as a guide, leading them through treacherous terrain, blistering heat to the sanctuary of the order, where their true quest shall commence. Within the austere confines of their desert stronghold, the members of the order pledge themselves to an ancient oath, vowing to unearth the secrets of ages past. They embark upon a visit. Okay. Unforgiving wilderness, scouring ancient ruins, a cryptic in the pursuit of elusive truth. Yet as they delve deeper into the sand, they must reign ever vigilant for rival factions covet the power they seek, and the fate of the desert and perhaps the world itself hangs in a precarious balance. Ooh, interesting. GPT 4.75 is still working on text output. It would be really funny if someone is actually just taking what I say and typing it into chat GPT and then copy and pasting what chat GPT is saying into chat, that would make me laugh. Or something similar. So we had two ideas for currency, by the way. We had one from Scruffy Beard, scales as currency, and then Alpha said nuts, and I like nuts, bolts, and screws. And I'm gonna say out of the two, so let's write these as ideas. So here are two ideas for currency, and I think, personally, between the two, I like nuts, bolts, and screws better than scales, because realistically, scales are the equivalent of skin flakes. Do we use skin flakes? No. But are nuts, bolts, and screws valuable? Yes. But I'm going to leave it up to chat to decide things, because we always let mob rule. So we'll do a 3-minute poll. Let's see what people think. I don't feel like scales would be valuable enough to really constitute a currency. That's my thought too. The other thing is, why would you want other people's scales? What would they do for you? Nuts, bolts, and screws, you could make some stuff. Maybe everybody like really knows how to make things, and it's valuable because that's what you can use to improve certain parts of the statue that you live in to make your part nicer, right? Hides were used as a currency in various parts of the world. That is true, hides were, but hides were also used as like hides from other animals, right? Like rare animals, like the hide of a bear. Not the hide. You wouldn't really use human hides or human leather very often, because that was seen as barbaric and in some cases satanic. The other thing is, well, I like the idea of scales, because like the shinier scales could be worth something. You know, you could do something with it. Again, every one of them has scales. They're all reptiles of some sort. In Warhammer 40,000, orcs use their teeth as currency. Yeah, well, orcs are stupid. Interesting. I didn't know they use their teeth as currency. Huh. How does that work? Which tooth is worth more? Is it their own teeth or each other's teeth? Is it like, oh, this is the tooth of a powerful warrior that I fought him for 3 days, so his tooth is worth like 1,000 tooths? Toothins? 1,000 toothins? Either way, I want to see what people think. I put them both up on the poll because I find equally entertaining. Orcs' teeth are regrowing and they decay. The money is bound to circulate as laying money degrade over time. Ah, that's one way of doing it. Okay. So it's not like coins where somebody has to make the coin and then that coin lasts forever and it's still valuable so long as that specific country exists. Warhammer orcs are also ridiculously OP. Anything they believe is real becomes real. Is that true? That is interesting. I know that orcs in Warhammer 40K are people who are what's the word? Corrupted by some sort of alien meteor. What's the history of Dragonsong? How was it founded? We already have that, but let me see the results. It looks like nuts, bolts, and screws won. We're gonna go with nuts, bolts, and screws. So this will be highlighted Gren. So we'll say it is answered. And the history of Dragonsong is it was founded by refugees, remember? that were hiding from the Empire. They hid in the statue. The Concord, the Empire of Conquest, was like, this might be the statue of a god. We don't want to mess with it. And since we wouldn't mess with it, and we're super smart, no one else would hide in there, so we don't need to check there. Basically, their own egos got in their way a little bit too. That way, it's like, because like I said, they are part god. They have the bloodline of gods. So would they really be that scared of gods if they truly believe the gods are on their side? So it's their ego of like, well, no one's gonna mess with the gods, so it's fine. And so they've been hiding there for like, let's say 300 years. Well, we won't say 300 years, but I'm just gonna say that as a number for now. Now, next question about nuts, bolts, and screws. Let's look up some nuts, bolts, and screws. Nuts, bolts, and screws. What is worth more? What is more valuable, a nut, a bolt, or a screw? Wait, let's see, where was that other picture? This one, there we go. Which of these would be worth more, right? Which would be harder to find, therefore more valuable? Right, I just kind of forgot. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. In Hostari currency were often made out of precious metals, and coinage was a sign of guaranteed weight. Yep. One of the things that they actually did in history, this is a fun history fact, is, and you could do this in your D&D game if you're playing like an evil character, or maybe just like a gray character. This is one of the things that they would do in history, is bandits would take gold, right? And they would shave the side of the coin down, because, like, let me get my wallet so I can show you. So this is a silver dollar, right? You guys see this okay? A silver dollar. You see how, like, the press for it is barely anything, and it has this, like, cut side? The reason for that, like, if you take any quarter or coin you have, it has that rough kind of side because it's all cut on the sides. The reason they do that is because back in the day, with gold coins, when they would press them, they would just take melted gold, silver, bronze, whatever, and press it with like an actual, just a hand press. And so coins wouldn't always be the same kind of size, like of Corinth. This is a good example. Like, you see how they're kind of lopsided and there's all this extra space and they're real smooth on the edge? Well, what bandits used to do is they used to take a knife and they used to shave down the sides just enough to where the symbols would still be there, so that way the coin would still be recognized as actual currency. And they would take the shavings and they would put it into a bag, right? And then they would put a few coins on top of that. And the reason they would do this is because now that bag weighs a lot more, and because it's still gold, it's just gold shavings, and eventually you'd have enough to where a bag of 10 coins could weigh as much as 20 or 50 coins. That was a thing that people used to do, criminals used to do, and you could talk to your DM about allowing that to be a thing and see how, and then he could decide if the government knows about this or not. But it is a thing people do, because you see how this is a perfect example. They would literally just take something melted and stamp it, and then you'd have all this excess. Look at all that. Look at all that excess. Just shave that down. Shave that, put that in a bag. You now have a bag that of value equal to a certain amount of coins, but it's only like half that amount. It would end up looking like this. Like, you just shave around until you get just enough to where it's still a bit circular. That's why coins today are pressed the way they are, with the cuts on the edges, so you can't shave it off. Warhammer orcs believe if you paint something red, it becomes ridiculously faster, and anything they paint red becomes faster. Interesting. I think having Church of the Statue as a faction would make sense. We actually did think of making a cult faction, so we'll Church/cult of the Statue. since they believe it is from the god Akusha, which is a fake god we made up. A fake god in both our world and this world. Let's see, bolts. I would say screws are the most valuable, being point gives them more utility. Okay, so currently we're thinking, I just copied an empty square. How do I undo that? There we go. Okay, so we have one for screws. Let's see. And then Alpha just said bolts. So let's actually do some Googling. What is harder to make? A bolt or a screw? This is weird shit you Google online when looking up D&C stuff. There's also a difference between a screw and a bolt. A bolt is a screw. Okay, so we're saying screws are the most valuable. I wrote screws wrong, by the way. Screws are equal to gold. Okay. We're just saying equal to gold just so that way we know it is the most valuable. Actually, it would technically be platinum. One of the human champions is basically a living corpse because the orcs believe he's too badass to die. Warhammer 40k sounds really cool, and it makes me more excited for the what's his name, Henry Cavill TV show. All right, nuts. How much we want to say nuts are worth? Nuts are equal to, and then what else are there? Nuts, bolts, or bolts, screws. Nuts, screws. Rivets? A rivet. Okay, rivets. We could make another one. Washers. Oh, that's a good one. Washers should probably be the least valuable. So I'm going to say washers are equal to copper. Because they're just that flat thing you put in. They're just this flat. I wanted to open the image, but that. Can I? There we go. They're just this part here. They don't do anything without the screw. So we'll say washers are the least valuable. And then what is this part called again? Is this the nut? Yeah, that's the nut. So I guess in that case, we'll say nuts are equal to silver then. I figured it out. But thank you for the help, Mr. Scruffy Beard. It makes me look really stupid that I don't know this just off the top of my head. Now, where do we want to put rivets? Because rivets are a little bit less useful than screws. But they're still useful. Do you want to say that they're like an electrum? Or closer to gold? We'll say gold for now. And then the last one I was thinking of, what are those? Or was it? I saw it in a picture. These. A fastener. These ones. We'll say fasteners are one below screws because they can make the screws tighter. Like a wing nut. Is that what it's also called? Yeah, okay, wing nut. Wing nut. We'll say wing nuts are more valuable. We can, well, now these are not set in stone. I'm just saying this. We can change it. So here's our currency. I don't know why I can't type today. I changed it to nuts, washers, and screws. So when our party gets here, they're gonna come in with all their gold, silver, and copper, and someone's gonna be like, "No, no gold, only screw, only nut. You have nut? Give me nut. Me want nut." There we go. That way it's both a funny encounter and it's in world. Rivets are permanent and screws are easily removed, if that helps. Ooh. In that case. I'm actually going to change this to gold. And this to electrum. Because they're similar to, like you just said. They're still valuable, clearly. But because they're not as versatile, they're worth slightly less. So now we've got washers are worth the least. Then nuts are worth a little bit more. Then wing nuts are worth more than regular nuts because they're easier to put on and take off. Rivets are worth quite a bit because you can make a sturdy foundation, but you can't redo things. And screws are the most valuable. Screws are extremely valuable in this city. Should the material and nut bolt matter? Because obviously a softer metal like pure iron wouldn't be as strong / hold up as well as some sort of steel. So we could do that. We could actually add a tier, like there's gold screws, and then there's diamond screws. Not actually, that was just my brain thing. Adamantium screws, there we go. And mithril screws, right? Like mithril's real good. And we could do that. And maybe that just gave me an idea. I'll leave this here and I'll mark it so you guys will mark it in orange. But here's what I'm thinking. All the nuts, screws, bolts, rivets, all that stuff, right? They come from the automaton itself. People take them apart from the inside of the automaton. Oh, material sciences, I've arrived just in time. Angry Meatball, welcome. Welcome. So they're taking these parts, these things apart and reusing them throughout the place to build like their shelters and things, their walls, their doors. So they'd all be part of the automaton statue. And what is the automaton made of? That's the thing. And I'm thinking we make the automaton made of actually some super rare material. Like adamantium. Right? That way it also like let's say adamantium in this world is super OP. Like it doesn't rust at all. It doesn't even get dirt. Like dirt doesn't stay on it. You can't scratch it or ruin the teeth of the screws. Like it's that OP. That's one of the things that happens with screws, by the way. Sometimes when you yank them out, or you screw it the wrong way, It ruins the teeth of the screw, so it can't screw anymore. And let's say they last thousands of years. Adamantine screws last forever. That's how this statue is still around. And so that's the main currency. That's why they're able to take it apart, reuse it. They're able to take a screw out, use it in this building, take it out, use it in this building, take it out, use it in this building. That way it explains why it's gone through so many hands and it's still usable, still valuable. But here's the thing. We are running low on usable materials. So what do? Taking gold, silver, and melt. So what they're doing is, I misspelled turning, but I'll fix that later. They are taking gold, silver, copper, what have you, and melting it down to make new nuts, bolts, washers, all that stuff. But they're not as good. They don't work as well. They don't hold together like the ones from the statue. So who has the ones from the statue? The elites keep most of the ones from the statue. And now we have a reason for the factions. Now we have a reason. The elite factions, the rich people, the rich, the nobles. Oh wait, it's supposed to be running low, not turning. I'm stupid. Now we have elites that are hoarding all the good shit. Create a law that making your own is illegal. Never mind, if they're hiding, an exchange wouldn't exist. There could be an exchange near the entrance to the city. It would basically be a hardware store. How's the elites become elites? I'm gonna write it here just because. That is a good question. How did the elites become elites? Since they're in the statue of a god, would the church cult be the elites? The church, the cult could be one of the elite groups. Are the families of the I just deleted that. Families of the original founders. And I misspelled families. So like the original founding people who came in, the original refugees, there were probably only like a handful of them. Maybe like 10 or 20 families, right? And their descendants are like, we were the original founders of this nation. We, you know, it would be like George Washington's great grandfather or granddaughter, not grandfather, granddaughter, right? We knew who that was. Or an even better example, Walt Disney's granddaughter today. You don't know her name, look her up. She's rich. Why is she rich? Because her grandfather was Walt Disney. You know, when there's an elite class, you've got to have a revolutionary faction. There we go. Now, they might not be revolting. They might just think that there's a better way to run the system. Because there's two different ways to revolt. There's protesting, actually trying to kill the elites, you know? And then there's just, we have some political power and we want to change the way things are done to make things better. There's the very peaceful, we are going to change the status quo. Status quo. Instead of not rusting at all, you might consider a beneficial oxidation on adamantine. Instead, verdigris, the green oxidation creating copper that is the equivalent to rust is actually good for a copper piece. It's a strong protective coating, keeps it from being scratched or corroded. This might make older pieces of adamantine more valuable than fresh ones. Ooh, that's an interesting way of doing it. Oh, I like that. That makes it more scientifically interesting. And also, I don't know if verdigris is real. We'll just say it's fake because I'm stupid that way. We can make it like magic shit. And then there's like old money. You literally have old money and new money then. Oh my god, that's amazing. Okay, I'm gonna do a vote in the chat for that. Can I do a new poll, please? Sometimes the poll system in this is Papagia. Do we want I'm just gonna say bolts. Super mega undestroyable bolts. Or they create, what was it, verdigris. We'll do a three-minute poll. A lunatone. If you want a flying moon, go catch one now. You know, it's a good thing that the VOD thing showed up, because I was literally gonna be like, hey, if you're behind, go watch the VOD. That link should lead to the VOD channel. If anybody can double check for me, that would be very useful. So we'll see what people prefer. I'm smelling like really tasty meat because I ate some leftover dinner last night. And I just ate it before stream so I could have a little bit of a lunchy. And I can still smell it wafting over to me. Like it actually, all it is the onions left over, which I might snack on a little bit. But look at that. Oh, it was whatever, the beef whatever, I can't remember what it's called, but oh, that smells so good. That makes me hungry. Here, I'm gonna have a little onion. That is indeed the VOD's channel. Thank you, Yuki. You are a valuable mod. What would I do without you? Oh, one more question. Is the last week VOD up there? Verdigris, it's French. It's French. It's a real world. It's a real world phenomenon. Right. Probably be less snowy. That is true. We would be less snowy without Yuki. Literally, because Yuki means snow in Japanese, if you're not a weeaboo. So anyways, Angry Meatball, do you have any more ideas? Because that's really cool. And Dr. Quark, Nerdy Sakura, any of you have any ideas that you, Alpha, anybody? Do we have any other ideas that might trump both of those? But I am glad you brought up verdigris. That sounds, oh my god, this is fucking cool. All right, while we're thinking about that, what do they eat? What do they eat? How do they eat? What do they eat here, right? So they're mostly carnivores, so they would want to eat meat. Want to eat meat. But they're in a statue. Oops. They want to eat meat, but how do they get it? Do they get meat? Yes, sir. Last Friday's body said, thank you. I'm a welder. You're kind of in my wheelhouse. Well, then you joined literally the perfect stream. We got 100% of 1 votes for verdigris. So it looks like we're going to go with verdigris. I'm just going to copy and paste. just gonna... where do we put this? We'll just leave that there for now. We'll fix that later. I find the idea of having nuts to be the currency and nuts of the edible variety being their main form of sustenance. Oh, that would be funny. So I came in late. I need a rundown of what we're doing. All right. If you want to see the full thing, go see the video on the VODs channel. That will only be up for today to help people catch up. I'm still editing it. And there's still stuff I want to change in it. Or maybe we'll leave it up. We'll see if people watch it. If people watch it, we'll leave it up. No, wait, that's not even the edited one. Never mind. We'll leave that one up. I'm going to have an edited one that I'm going to put on my main channel later. My brain was thinking 1,000 miles a minute. So anyways, we made a statue. I'm going to take off my jacket, so sorry if you see my belly burton. But I'll keep talking. So we made a country, a city, a city of people that live inside a statue. And you might think, why would you live in a statue? You can't grow food there. You can't get water there. You're right, you can't. It wasn't by choice. They are all refugees. They are outcasts. They were trying to find their way. They were trying to hide from Concord, the country of conquest, led by the ASMR, which is currently trying to take over the world. I find the idea of having to be music, hunting parties, and they cure the meat so it lasts longer. Okay, but where do they even get meat from? The question is, where do they even get meat? And how do they have hunting parties? They don't want people to know where they are. They're hiding inside a statue, right? Could they have hunters that slip out and hunt under the cover of night? Ooh. You know what? Okay. That's an idea. That only hunt at night. Would they eat anything else though? At nighttime, there aren't a lot of animals that come out at night. There are nocturnal animals. Like if we say they're in a desert, the only things that come out at night are spiders and tarantulas and scorpions for the most part. Maybe a couple snakes. Actually, no, not even then, because it would be too cold. It's a statue. Birds poop on statues. Refine the poop. And that actually gives me an idea. See, Scruffy Beard got what I was saying. They also eat birds from time to time. They use the bird poop to... What could they use the bird poop to do? Like, actually, can you use bird poop for anything? I wrote bird boop. And then they use the fertilizer. What do they use the fertilizer to grow? See, I originally, when I was thinking of all these questions, right? My original thought is there's like a goop that is used as a lubricant in the statue that is also really good at growing plants that nobody knows about, and it leaks through the walls sometimes, and that like grows random mushrooms that they can use, right? Something like that. This is more entertaining. This is like, now I can make like they have a whole thing where they get the birds to come onto the top of to certain areas of the statue. Like, let's say it has its hand out. We're not going to say that, but let's say it has its hand out, and a lot of birds there's like a whole group that lives inside the left arm, right? And they come out they have like a little hole in the hand that they come out of, and they can collect the birds, or they like feed the birds so that way the population stays big, and then they stays healthy, and then they kill they collect the poop of the birds, and then they kill like the big fat ones or the ones that have lived a long time. That way the birds still exist, but they're not overpopulating to get too much information. They still get meat. Your ideas are way more entertaining than mine. Mine is just like weird goop that makes mushrooms. Like, okay, whatever, fine, that's it, done, bing bang boom. But this one, there's like a whole system for it now. Let's see. The more elite factions could cannibalize the races as lesser beings. If you want to go that dark of a route, we could write that. We could. I don't know if I'd want to, but we can. They need Dova coats. I don't know what that is. The Middle East, all during the Fertile Crescent period, had man-made towers that were designed to house pigeons for eggs and meat. That's exactly what I was thinking of, except for it wouldn't be a tower. It would just be it would be like on the shoulder or something, not the head. The reason is I want to have the main leaders I want to say that the main government lives in the head, and then we'll decide whether or not they know if this is an automaton, or if they believe it is a god. Because in the head there'd probably be some, like, if this was an actual like robot automaton thing, not actually robot, but that's the idea I'm coming up with, they would know that there's some sort of like technology in there to control it. There would probably even be a data file of the first Dragon Rider being like, this was created to blah 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 blah. Lots of them are still standing in Iran. That's cool. Actually, there was a point in time where the US really wanted bird poop. I forgot why. Really now? Okay, now I'm gonna have to Google that because that sounds hilarious. Why did the US really want bird poop? Guano, as we towers of literary force are supposed to refer to bird excrement as I thought guano was used as bat excrement. I guess maybe it's used one and the same. As a spreading tendency to accumulate on islands, for example. In 1856, the United States decided that it was entitled to claim any island that was uninhabited, perhaps because it was too coated with bird dock for anyone to want to live there. Too coated with bird duke for anyone to want to. That one, they did that twice. Unclaimed by anyone else. This resulted in U.S. claiming about 80 islands worldwide. Nitrogen rich nature of bird poop. Oh, it was because of the nitrogen. This is somewhat less stupid and arrogant than it might seem, though. That bar wasn't set terribly high. So it was for the nitrogen. Bird droppings like chicken can be used as a nitrogen-rich fertilizer. Oh, you said that already. How much they grow plant life to sustain their meat supply, which are goats, pigs, etc. It's actually a good source of nitrogen, which use make gunpowder. I mean, they don't have gunpowder in this world, but is there anything else you can use nitrogen for, Mr. Meatball? Aha, that makes sense. I think closed statue would trap moisture fairly well, so you can probably find fungi, moss inside, some mushrooms. Okay. So now we've got some ideas we gotta throw around. Get food. All right, so I'm voting this to see which one gets the most votes. So I want you guys to vote as much as possible. If you want to use, I'll even add allow additional votes of 10 dragon scale points because we got a lot of new people here. And I'm going to do a 10-minute one because we have an ad coming. Oh, never mind. An ad just started. I should have went on break. Okay, so we'll just do 3 minutes like normal. So, hunting parties. Excuse me. Birds. Mushrooms. from moisture. I misspelled burbs. Landing on hands/shoulders. Hey, you guys will figure that one out. What was the last one we thought? Using the burb poop to feed goats. I'm just saying bird poop to feed goats because I'm only allowed a certain amount of characters, but that's using bird poop to grow crops that then use to feed goats and pigs. I just got out of my ad. Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay, we'll decide some more stuff. Hello, Kevin. Welcome. So how do they get their food chat? The last one, remember the full thing? I just can't type the full thing. Unmodded. I unmodded pretty much anybody who doesn't mod consistently in my chat or Discord. Because I had too many mods. Plus also that way you don't have to worry about you don't have that stress on you, you know? I know it was really stressing you out. I know that you were staying up late at night worrying about did I delete that message in Zagger's chat. Also, there's a wild blitzel if you want to catch it. How's Poke Rogue going? Or yeah, Poke Rogue. As a non-mod, you don't need to ban everyone for being dumb now. Hey, look, we only ban 95% of people. Come on now. Damn, using them Ultra Balls. How much money you got, by the way? Can I still say whatever I want, like a mod could? Depends on whatever I want means. You still have a decent amount. You still have a decent amount. A tiny bit less than me. So yeah, don't forget those options are hunting parties, burbs on the hands and shoulders, mushrooms for moisture, and burb poop to feed goats and pigs and the like. So vote, please. Vote for whatever you want to pick. Please, vote multiple times if you have to. We're probably going to use all of these because it makes sense that there'd be this huge food, like different types of meats and foods and things after 300 years, right? But I want to see what people are most interested in, what they're most willing to spend their points on. I have an idea that goes with this, but I need an odd detail to pull together. Does the automaton have anything circuit-like inside of it? Do you mean like computer parts? Because if so, I want to say, I don't know. I want to say no. Because, but we could say maybe there's like some sort of magic crystal that creates electricity similar. Okay, it looks like the poll has ended, and it looks like the #1 voted thing is the burb poop. So let's write this in a, move this down here. Okay, so #1, burb poop. Why is this? There we go. Burb poop used to grow crops to feed animals. Yes, I wrote it that way. Number 2, weird goop slash moisture, which grows mushrooms. Number 3, is tied for hunting parties that leave at night. Cover of night. Number 4. I'll say this is number 3 because it was tied. Burbs that land on the shoulders slash hands being farmed. I'll just say farmed, you know, because you say you're farming birds, people know what you're talking about. Damn, bird shit wins. Classic Twitch chat. I have an idea. I'm thinking glowing carving linings the inside to direct power. I'll write that down, but what do you mean by that? That actually gives me a really cool idea, but I want to hear more of that. We're putting that in orange. That way we look for it later. Like carvings that allow some energy carrying fluid to flow through it like a circuit. Ooh, interesting. Ooh, that gives me some ideas. Okay, I like that, and I'm gonna there are carvings throughout the structure that glow sometimes. How do you... Is it tab? No. Enter? Yeah. The citizens believe this is Akusha generating light for them to see. I keep tabbing because I'm so used to pressing tab for things like this. It is actually the energy from magic crystals being circulated throughout the baton on a cycle. This is how the citizens denote time. So this just was, this just combined 3 things. This combines real IRL D&D Forgotten's Realm lore, and Gigabird shit crystals. That was funny. I see it a lot in video games and anime. I think some of the Legend of Zelda games use it. Yes, Legend of Zelda games definitely use that aesthetic. What this is, so this is 3 things that we just combined in my head. You wouldn't know that these are 3 things because it's not actually, you just came up with this. You just came up with this idea. But this is like, so in Forgotten Realms in the Underdark, the way canonically that they tell time, since they live inside a cave their whole lives, there's like this there's this crystal that changes colors throughout the day, and then based on the color of the crystal, that's what time of day it is. And then in a book called Shadow of the Conqueror, because nighttime and physical darkness will eventually turn you into a demon monster, they have a magic setting to where it's literally always daytime, all day, every day. And the way the world works is they live on a floating continent. And like, say this is the continent. If you fall down this way, eventually you will appear back up here, and you will just continue to do this forever until you hit something, right? And so the way they denote time is there's a giant boulder that is always falling that they can see at all times, and depending on where that boulder is, that's what time of day it is, quote unquote. So instead of calling it a day, they call it falls. Like, oh, a full rotation of it going from the top all the way to the bottom to the top again is one fall, and that's how they denote their days. And then the believing that it is from a god is like in the anime, what's it called? Akudama Drive. If you've ever seen Akudama Drive, there is a train called the Shinkansen in that show. That is a train that goes through the city of Kanto. No. Shinjuku? No, I forget what region they're in. But the region they're in, Kansai, from Kansai to Kanto, right? And when it drives, it glows this like rainbow color, and they believe it is like some sort of holy spirit, and so they will actually pray to it when it goes by. But what it actually is it's just a train that sends special high-tech amazing god level goods from Kansai to Kanto. That's all it does. But they believe it's like some sort of entity. So we've just combined 3 ideas. We've killed 3 birds with 1 stone. 3 gigaship birds. Okay, I love this. We now know how they create time. I didn't even think this was a question, but this is how they denote time. Like, sure, we could say, oh, they look outside and they see the sun, but this is way cooler. This is so much more cool. This is unique. This is fun. I like this. For Fantasy World, this is surprisingly high tech. Man, Akudama Drive, haven't heard people mention that too much. It's so good. More people, like I was hyping it up for Claire. I was like, it's so good, you're gonna love it, you're gonna like it. And she's like, okay, I guess, what's it about? And I can't say what it's about too much. I'm just like, it's a heist anime, because that's all you can tell people, because if you tell them more than that, it's a freaking spoiler. I'm just like, it's a heist anime. And she's like, okay, maybe. We watched and she's like, oh my god, that was so good. I bet I could get her in here and to say how good it was. By the way, Yuki, I got her started watching Deadmau5 Deathplay. She's on part 2 right now. Yeah, I mean, saying it's a heist anime isn't strictly wrong. Yeah, it technically is a heist anime. It was based off of... They said it was based off of Ocean's 11, I think, or Reservoir Dogs. How large of a construct are we talking? At least minimum 3 times the size of the Statue of Liberty. I'm gonna go, what? Yes, the Statue of Unity. Okay, so let's say at least the size of the Statue of Unity. All right, at least this big. 182 meters. What is that in freedom units? That is 597 feet. How tall is the... Okay, so the Empire State Building is twice that size. So let's say it's as big as the Empire State Building. Let's say that for now. The whole structure is as big and we'll put that in orange so that way we can denote that we're not sure if we're going to keep that. This I want to put into green because I'm keeping this. This is too cool not to keep. Anything I put in green we're going to say is locked in. And then yellow is just so that way we see this, we can find the star easily. So anything from the last string. We might change some of this, so I'm gonna put this in orange. This one's also an orange. Red is stuff where we gotta ask. I like color coding things if you can't tell. These are questions we have. Damn, that statue is almost exactly 100 times as tall as I am. The Burj Khalifa is bigger. Is it? Okay, I'm just looking at this so that way I have it. And then we'll duplicate. The Burger King. Ah, oh, okay, it's a building. What's it? 2,000. Okay, do we want to go with the Burj Khalifa? Okay, we got to vote. We got to do another vote, chat. Because Empire State Building. Here, let's just look up largest buildings in the world. Oh, so it looks like the Burj Khalifa is the biggest building in the world. Okay, we'll go with the top 5. Okay. So let's go 1,821 feet. 1,966 feet. 2,073 feet. I'm writing them in feet just so that way you can translate them in your own thing. And this one we won't allow multiple votes, additional votes. Let's see. Just make sure they're all. Not so fun fact, up until relatively recently, the Burj Khalifa didn't really have plumbing, so they had poop trucks carrying away waste. That is hilarious. I know that, I don't know which building it is. It might be I don't think it's the Burj Khalifa, but I know that there was a oil baron billionaire somewhere in the Middle East who bought a building. He bought a building that's like as big as the Empire State Building, or maybe not quite as big, but it is gigantic. He bought it to live in it, right? It would have like 50 plus floors. And then he said, and then he heard a rumor that it might be haunted. And he said, never mind, we're not moving there, but I'm still going to own the building. He just decided last minute, I'm not moving in because it might be haunted. Let me look that up actually while we're waiting for the poll. Rich guy who bought giant tower to live in, then decided not to because it might be haunted. I mean, I guess this happens a lot, but there was a huge one. I remember watching about it in a video a long time ago, like 10 years ago. 850 meters almost, I think. That might be our goal post. Again, I use freedom units, so you know, you convert how you will. Convert the numbers how you like. Oh, no one wanted the Mudbray. Dude, I remember when Sun and Moon was coming out, one of my friends who was actually super into Perkyman, she was like, oh my god, Mudbray is gonna be so good, it's gonna be so strong. And because it had like decent stats and it had a really good ability, if I remember correctly. And then it came out and it's like, it's decent, but there are so many better Pokemon from what I remember. Excuse me, I burped. Anyways, let's see how the poll is going. Excusez-moi. I hiccuped. Looks like We're going with 2,073 feet in height. Hiccup. Mudsdale is okay. Yeah, that's what I was remembering. Yeah, it's okay. It's not terrible. It's just okay. It looks like we're going with 2,073 feet. Having hiccups. I'm dying. Send recommendations for help or any cures you might have. Okay, where did I put the height? Did I put the height anywhere? No. We'll just put that here. 2073. Nope. Tall slash, and I'll convert that for the chat. Not subbed. I know, no one's sending subs to Strem Elements. Gotta keep it subbed, man. Maybe I'll do that once we got the moolah. But right now I gotta keep things tight for content. Can you make it so your bots have permanent bot sub? Can you? I should Google that. But I didn't know. These are not things I know. Let me just... Anyway, so we got food. While we're doing that, does anybody have any other ideas for factions? Anybody have any other ideas for factions? Just start writing them out while I... Let's see. The hunters. Wait. Add to the power circuit thing. The power source could act like a small sun, and gardens or pastures could be under it, assuming the power source is in the torso. The crystal. Okay. We could do that. I'll put that to the side as like a crystal that floats in the center chest region, almost like a small sun. And for some reason this is in not Times New Roman. You can if you're a Twitch partner, not affiliate. Feels bad, man. Who's praying to the corpse of this god they currently live in? All the citizens. Anybody who lives inside of it. If you're talking about outside, well, he is the god. He is believed to be the god of constructs, protection, craftsmanship, and the forge. We might get rid of the forge part because there isn't a forge in the statue, so why would they believe he's the god of the forge? The rest you could believe, but maybe not the forge. But that's we're not picking that yet. So what? Real quick, what do we want to call the hunters? What names do we want to come up with for the hunting party, right? Because we don't want to just call them the hunting party. We could call them like the night hunters, or shadow hunters. These are all edgy names, but these are the ones that are. I have an edgy brain. The make it bird theme, Nightkin. That one's a cool one. The Dragonborn want to protect the lesser races and openly defy the founding families. Oh, interesting. Because I was gonna say the Dragonborn were the founding families. We're flipping that around. Okay. You could forge deep underground to be discovered. Make it bird themed. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to think of a good one. The dark dodo. The dark dodos. Okay, so the alpha. So what do we want to call this group of Dragonborn that oppose them? What do we want to call them? Or are these part of the revolutionaries? Let's come up with a name for the revolutionaries as well. So any name you can think of for these factions, and for the hunters. Let's see. What kind of hunting names? Let's see. Hunting group names. Deal Seekers, Allied Hunters, Illuminati. Angry Scavengers. Oh, that one actually kind of works. The Hawkeyes. Okay. Hunter Vibe. Secret Shadowing. These are actually pretty good names. Let's go with the Scaled Scavengers. I probably just wrote Scald, but whatever. We know it's scaled. I'm trying to think if there are any other. Let's see, what were some other names that we saw here? Deal Seekers, Night Seekers. The Night Seekers. If you want to keep the god of Forge Bit, we could consider the Reforgers for the revolutionaries. Ooh. I like that one. That's a cool one. So we're using other ideas to create new ideas. The Owl Drakes. I'm also thinking the Night Drakes now that you say it. So here are some name ideas. Okay. I like this. This is cool. Okay, so let's see. Which ones don't we want? The Night Hunters sounds... It's too straightforward. I don't like it. It's too basic. So we're getting rid of that one. Let's see. There's the Shadow Hunters, the Night Kin, the Dark Dodos, the Scaled Scavengers, the Night Seekers, the Owl Drakes, or the Night Drakes. Okay, I'm gonna... Do we have any other ideas for hunter names real quick? Or faction names? Either one is fine. Just write faction or hunter before your thing and put a colon, so I know what it's in. And we're gonna write it. We're gonna do a poll soon, and we will be. Personally, the alliteration is too much. What alliteration? What explain. Maybe I'm not understanding what alliteration means. The occurrence in the same letter. You don't like the you do or don't like the Dark Dodos? Okay, so we're gonna make a new poll. Hunter's group name. Not a fan. Got it. Well, that's what voting is for. It makes it easy since I already have it written. If you have an alternate idea, please let me know before I start the poll and we go on break. Oops. Night Seekers, I might get rid of. Night Seekers is kind of... Kind of whatever. All right, I'm going to go use the restroom. We will not allow additional votes because I want everybody vote as much as you can. Start voting for the poll. Can you do a shout out for that, Yuki, so I can use the restroom? No, but I just thought up a reason why the magic beans coffee does what it does. There's an unknown leak of the magic that soaks into the soil where the coffee beans grow. That's cool. I like it. Yeah, I'm not gonna allow additional votes. I don't see a reason to, because we want people to actually pick it. So we're gonna start a poll. I'm gonna go on break. I gotta use the bathroom. I hope you enjoy your break while we get some water and other stuff.
Adventure raid incoming. Prepare defenses.
Have you ever felt like you were suffocating? Ever feel like there's no escape from that crushing feeling in your chest? Then your doctor might recommend air. Air is a new, free alternative to nothing. Our scientists have spent decades perfecting this product with extensive testing, years of research, and trial and error. We found a way to change the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere into breathable air just for you, using safe compostable materials such as trees. So you don't have to worry about ruining the environment while using air. 9 out of 10 doctors agree that air is essential to your heart, lungs, and brain. Air can also lead to cyclones, blizzards, cold and heat waves, thunderstorms, and tornadoes. If you are experiencing any of these symptoms, please call emergency services and a team will be on their way to help you as quickly as possible. Do not take air without speaking to your doctor first, because air is not for everyone. If you are already using air, tell your doctor before he prescribes you any new medication. Whatever the case may be, air is here to help you out. Air. Take a breath. We are back, chat. We are back. Air. Take a breath. So let's see who we got. 2 raiders from Calamity Lord 21. Thank you for joining us here in the Dragon's Den. What raiders? We have raiders in the chat. Everyone spam your emotes to protect your hordes. I hope you're all having a good time here. Let's see. What did the results of the poll say? So, wow. So we have equal votes for Nightkin Scaled Scavengers and the Owl Drake / Night Drakes. So that gets rid of shadow hunters, which I'm okay with. And the dark dodos. Unfortunate, sad but true. Is life. Since we have a three-way tie, it is up to the gods of the dice to decide. And I just closed my phone thing because we weren't using it. So you'll have to just trust actually. Okay, do you guys want me to use my phone to show the dice thing or not? It might take me a minute to get it up. That sounded weird. Hold up. Not what I meant. Might take me a minute to turn the camera on. Or do you just trust me? Here, we'll try and get the clicky clack sounds in there. Tell me if you can hear that, chat. Cozy, are you trying to arouse the camera? I'll take that as a we're fine. You can hear. Okay, I'm rolling a d4. And the number is a 2. So it looks like Scaled Scavengers wins. Scaled Scavengers win. The Scaled Scavengers. All right, so the Scaled Scavengers won because we rolled the dice because we didn't have enough people vote in the poll. That's okay. People have busy lives. These things happen. Just try to be here next time. It's free. You just click. I don't even think you have to be following. So we've got the Scaled Scavengers. The dice have spoken. Yes. Just as all good Dungeons and Dragons nerds know, the dice always speak. By the way, chat, I should let you know we only have half an hour left in the stream. So we gotta start getting stuff done. So we're gonna move on from the Scaled Scavengers. We're gonna leave it like that. We gotta come up with some more factions. So, because it's taking people a while. Kobolds. I'm gonna make a Kobold faction. And a Lizard Folk faction. And okay, so now we gotta think of. Yeah, I'm gonna just move this somewhere up there. So what does each faction want? So the church, the church or cult of Akusha. We'll just call it the cult of Akusha, or do we want the cult or the church of Akusha? Well, I'll let people 1 for church, 2 for cult. Just type it in the chat. All right, so what are their desires? What do they want? Why? So clearly devoted to the governing, right? The belief of protecting it. So are they like, do they want to talk to outsiders? Do they allow outsiders? Do they like outsiders? Do they hate them? I would think they hate outsiders. I don't know why some of these are not. They hate outsiders. Either way, I'll acronym as COOA, and there will be a great schism in the group on church versus cult versus those who are acronym only. I like that. Maddie Holmes, I like that. I like that idea, that there's a schism between what to name it, because that reflects real world religion. And not to get too much, but the religion that does this, you know, there have been wars fought over if you do it with 2 hands or 2 fingers or 3 fingers. Literally, people have killed each other over that. So I like that. They fight over the use of the full name or the acronym, because why not? The old ones, but that was in Russia, so that doesn't count. Yeah, but the fact that people did it at all is the point. They want to keep the sanctity of the statue. They wish to keep the sanctity of the statue. Whatever that means for them. We can decide what that means later. All right, we have one faction. They don't like outsiders. They fight over the naming of their group, and they want to keep the sanctity of the statue. That's their internal struggle. Now, what do the Dragonborn want? What was their desire? Why did when they came here, what do they care most about? Okay, so in the statue we have food, we have an economy. I would say the Dragonborn would be most interested in keeping the manufacturing going. They want to keep I'll just say for control for now. We can change it. Control the manufacturing of the statue. The kobolds, because kobolds in D&D lore like gold and treasure, they are in charge of the what do you call it? Of the nuts and bolts. Mint. The nuts and bolts mint. And the lizard folk are in charge of the food production. And the reforgers. So the thing, my one hesitancy with the reforgers and the revolutionaries, right, is that I want these factions to all have equal or nearly equal control. Revolutionaries very rarely have equal control to their government. That being said, we could find a way to give them some control. The Dragonborns or kobolds want to expand the foods available. I don't think goats and mushrooms are enough for dragons. We can, there's actually some stuff I can tell you about that, but we'll continue with that later. They're the Quakers of the group, nature resource extraction. Who are the Quakers? Revolutionaries very rarely have equal levels of power in their own group. Yeah, that's my one problem with them being revolutionaries. But we could say it is another group that works with the revolutionaries. Group 5. Let's say they're in charge of the military force, because they have to have a military force in case someone attacks them, right? They have to have some sort of army. So what do we call the army? I'll just call it army for now. The fighting force. They don't have to be actual revolutionaries, could just be more radical reformers. That's true, that's a good point. The OG revolutionaries are rarely the ones who end up running the new government. Yeah, because what ends up happening is they become the government, and then all the issues that the other that they had before are either exacerbated or new issues are created, and then people are like, I thought you said you'd make things perfect, but you didn't, and now we got to get you out of here. And because they understand, one of two things either happens. Either they become just as terrible as the people they tried to take down, or they're like, okay, I got it, I don't want to be as bad as them, so I'm stepping down. Those are like the only two things that generally happens. Or they get killed while they're still trying to make things better. That is the third one, but that one's a little darker. What the revolutionary is a coalition of members of the different groups who reject their arbitrary designations. Ooh, that's an interesting one. Ooh, reject their arbitrary designations. Okay, let's... I'm going to write this down over here. Can I not? Can I? Copy. There we go. They reject their arbitrary designations based on clan nationality. I did not spell nationality correctly, I don't think. Oh, I did. I'm just saying nationality just to clan groupings, clan race groupings. Because let's say they're grouped based on, like, if you're a dragon ward or a cult, like there's like a separation, you know. Yeah, we overthrow the government. We are awesome at that. Wait, what do you mean I have to do inventory and distribution now? Yeah, it's running a government's really hard. CGP Grey has a pretty good video on stuff like that. What do we want to name the army? What do we want to name the leaders of the army? Let's call them the hard scales for now, and we can come up with better names just because we're running low on time. And what would we want to call the lizard folk, since they're in charge of like the hunting and the food? We said that one of them is the scale scavengers, so maybe not the hard scales, maybe a different name for the hard scales, because maybe we'll use scales for the kobolds. The kobolds can be the great scales. No, because scales is usually the scales of, let's see, what did we say he was? The first claw? No, that should be the army. The army should be called the first claws. The first claws. The hunter scavengers. Dude, you gotta use the scales big group design nations. Like the scales justice, but different organizations. Interesting. I just want to write edgy pamphlets about power and structure and systematic problems. Well, we already have the scaled scavengers, which is the name of the hunting party. And then they also have like their crops and birds and things like that. So the growing scales. There we go. The growing scales. How did I not think of that? The kobolds can be called let's see, what would gold be associated with? Gold is associated with the sun. Sun is in the sky. To get to the sky, you need to fly. To fly, you need wings. The golden wings. There we go. The golden wings. I'll put kobold so we don't forget. Let's see, lizard folk. And I'll just say rejects for now. Like, it's all the other races that have joined. And we'll say anybody can be in the church. You just have to prove your devotion. And then the Dragonborns, let's see, they want to control the manufacturing and upkeep. So they would be part of the building of the place. Wait, ooh, even better than first clause, the first fangs. We'll use fangs for that one. Fangs for battle, you know. How about the Akusha? Because they all use their hands to craft things, and they all have claws. The claws of Akusha? They think they could think that they're just as godly as the Church of Akusha. Ooh, wait. What about the Eye of Akusha? Would you be okay with the Eye of Akusha instead of Church of Akusha, Yuki? The scales of power, the scales of the protectorate, the scales of the agriculture. Like how we use bureau as agency titles. What floats? A duck. Oh, heretics. Dude, you gotta use the scales. Let's see. Interesting. Eyes sound cool? Yeah. The eyes of Akusha. That way it also has this big brother connotation to it. Like they're always watching everything you do. Akusha's always watching you. Ooh. That would make them even more radicalized. Like we always know if people are being bad. We know. And they could even uphold law and order. They are also the cops of the area. That way you have all law. Of law and order. Now you have the law, right? One hand is the law, one hand is religion. You have them joined. Now when you have radicalized stupid laws, this is why. Because they're like, God said so. That's why you're in jail. Super fucked up, but it, you know, it works. But why I in particular? Because my brain was thinking the dragon's eye, like the eye of the dragon. The eye of Akusha, right? A hunter's eyes are always like the eyes of a beast are where its intelligence is from. That's just why I came up with eye. The rule of claw. We're gonna say that's what their law is called. What the heck happened here? The rule of claw. So when they come in, it's like, do not break the rules of claw. Do you mean the rules of law? No, we mean the rules of claw. Do not break them, or else you shall be devoured. And then it does like they do like a toothy alligator grin. It's like, what do you mean by devoured? Exactly as I said. A Leafeon. A Gert Ball. Go catch a Leafeon if you want. All right, we got about 20 minutes left, chat. 20 minutes left. Do we like this? Do we like this? The eyes of Akusha, the claws of Akusha, the golden wings, the growing scales, and the first fangs. Anyone, I'll say, truly, and we'll put it in quotes because it's arbitrarily decided, truly devoted. I think our city's coming pretty good. We still have a few questions. We didn't answer what kind of goods there are and what services, but we did answer what they eat. So this has been answered. We're going to scale scavengers. We'll say that one's answered. We'll leave this orange to say we're not sure because we may change our minds. We even have like a whole currency we made. Like there's like different types of, we're using screws, nuts, and bolts, right? Rivets, all that stuff. And then older ones are better for newer ones because they create verdigris, you know? I caught the Leafeon, yay. I like this. We've got ourselves our cool world on Fantasy Friday. And we got a bunch of new chatters and a raid. So I thank you all for joining us. If there's anything you wanted to say last few minutes before we go, say your piece now, my children. Thank you again, Calamity Lord, for the raid. I wanted to say a specific thank you because you have a list out there. We're gonna look for someone to raid. Let's see, Dungeons and Dragons. We'll just leave let's see. Let's see, there aren't a lot of people streaming Dungeons and Dragons right now. Services, drug cartel with magic shrooms. Okay, let's do that. I like that. I like that. Okay. Okay. It doesn't look like a lot of people are streaming D&D right now. Probably because Matthew Colville's not on. A lot of people stream when he streams. There's someone playing, let's see. What about Baldur's Gate 3? There's a lot of people streaming that. Oh, Lua's streaming it, and she's a top streamer right now. Good for Lua. On that note, having drug addiction be a rampant problem afflicting the people of Dragonsong would be an interesting situation to try and resolve. It would. Would we resolve it? Would we make it worse? These are the questions we must ask ourselves. So we will... Let's see, is there anybody who looks fun to raid? A lot of them are grill streamers, so I'm having a hard time finding someone without just being like, oh, pretty grill to raid. You know, we'll raid this guy. This guy, I'm waiting for the ad to play through. Does anybody have any raid suggestions? Yes or no? Never mind, this guy doesn't seem to be doing much. Yeah, we'll just raid Lua. Lua's super chill. I like Lua. I've been subbed to her for a long time. I watch her streams from time to time. We'll just raid Lua. I'm being lazy. So everyone, thank you for joining me in tonight's stream. I'm sorry it has to end early, but we got, again, I'm so happy for everyone joining us. I'd like to say, I wish there was a notification for everyone who followed a specific section, but I'd like to thank Angry Meatball, Maddie Holmes, Kevin, Yuki, I'm scrolling to chat, Alpha, Mr. Scruffy Beard, Dr. Quark, and anyone else who I didn't mention. Thank you all for joining me in today's stream. It was so much fun. I was so glad to have you all here. I am so glad we're working more on this. I can't wait to take this and use it on my players. It'll be so much fun. It'll be like one of the... I'm very excited. This will be like a city that I have everything down. I know everything that's happening in it. Until then, guys, thank you again for joining us in the Dragon's Den. We will see you on Magical Monday, where we will be playing more of the Ooga Boonga streams, if you know what that is. You know, one of the real ones. Until then, oh, also Nerdy Sakura. I almost forgot. Nerdy Sakura. Thank you all. Until then, stay safe, stay smart, stay healthy. Be thankful for everything and everyone in your life. And the #1 rule here in the Dragon's Den, don't believe in yourself. Believe in me, who believes in you. Bye-bye, chat.